A married couple wanted to go out for dinner one evening, so they called their usual babysitter. She arrived at the couple's house a little before 7 o'clock. "There's food in the fridge. Please help yourself to anything," said the man. "The boys ate earlier," his wife added. "They're playing a game in their room." "Can you put them to bed at 9 o'clock? "I'll try," said the babysitter, laughing. The two boys, aged 5 and 7, never wanted to go to bed. It usually took at least an hour to get them into bed. Which story should I read to them tonight? She wondered. The couple left the number of the restaurant next to the phone. The babysitter smiled. It's funny that the couple still have a landline in their home, she thought. "We'll be home by 9:30, said the man, putting on his jacket. "Call us at the restaurant if you need anything." "Anything at all," the babysitter smiled. She knew the routine. After the parents left, the babysitter went upstairs to say hello to the boys. The door to their room was open just a little. She saw them playing on the floor. "Hey, you two," she said. "How's it going?" "Fine," the boys said together. They didn't look up. They were focused on their game. "Have fun, I will see you later," the babysitter said. She left the door open. She went downstairs to the living room and sat down on the couch. She opened her backpack and took out her books. She liked this job. The boys were usually very quiet, and she was able to study. After about 90 minutes, the phone rang. "Hello," she said into the phone. There was no answer. "Hello," she repeated. Still no answer. She hung up. A few minutes later, the phone rang again. "Hello," she said. She listened carefully. She thought she heard someone breathing. Suddenly a man's voice said, "Have you checked the children?" He said his words very slowly. "Who is this?" she asked. Was it the boy's father? It didn't sound like him. He and his wife never called her unless it was something important. She hung up again. The phone rang yet again. The voice slowly repeated the same question. "Have you checked the children? Who is this?" She repeated. "Jason, is that you?" Was her boyfriend Jason playing a trick on her? "If you're trying to scare me, it's not working." She hung up again. She wasn't scared, just annoyed. She thought about Jason. He was at the movies with his friends. Maybe it wasn't him after all. She let her mind wander. She was now starting to feel a little nervous. She stood up and looked out the window. The neighborhood was dark and quiet. She decided to call the restaurant. When she asked for either of the parents, the hostess told her the couple just left. Should I call the police? She wondered. She decided it was a good idea. There were a lot of strange people out there. She called the police and described what happened. "Did the man threaten you?" the police officer asked. She said no. "Well, Then, sorry, but there's nothing we can do about it. The police officer said one of her friends was probably just trying to scare her. She then felt silly for calling the police. A few minutes later, she got another call. The man's voice asked, "Have you checked the children?" He sounded annoyed. "Stop calling me," she shouted, slamming down the phone. Now she was frightened. She called the police again. "I'm scared," she cried. "I think he's watching me." The police officer tried to calm her down. "Okay, listen to me," he said. "Lock the door and close all the curtains. Give me your address. I'll send an officer over as soon as I can. And give me your phone number. If he calls again, try to keep him on the line as long as you can. We might be able to trace the call and identify the caller." After she hung up, the babysitter locked the front door and closed all the curtains. She felt a little better, knowing the police would stop by. She soon got another call. "It's me," said the familiar voice. "Why did you close the curtains?" So he was watching her. "So you can't see me," she said. "Look, you scared me. Okay? Are you happy? Is that what you wanted?" She hoped he wouldn't hang up. She didn't tell him the police were on their way. "No," he said. There was then a long pause. "Why haven't you checked the children?" The babysitter slammed the phone down, now terrified. Almost immediately it rang again. "Leave me alone," she screamed. But it was the police officer's voice that came on the line. "We traced the call," the police officer said urgently. "It's coming from inside the house. Get out of the house, now." The babysitter dropped the phone in shock, and suddenly she heard heavy footsteps walking down the stairs. Without pausing for a second, she ran out of the house as fast as her legs would carry her. Just as she closed the front door behind her, a man's hand slammed against the glass. She screamed and ran out into the street just as a police car was pulling up outside. The police searched the house and found the two children upstairs, hiding in a closet, crying uncontrollably. In the parents' bedroom, they found a bloody axe lying on the floor next to the upstairs phone. The back window was wide open and the curtains were blowing in the breeze. There was no sign of the madman who had made the phone calls. He had escaped into the night when the police arrived and managed to interrupt his horrible plan to kill the two children and the poor babysitter.